Welcome, dirty peasants, to episode 43 of Wartwood Gazette, the Amphibia podcast. This week we'll be talking about Amphibia Season 2, Episode 3, Truck Stop Polly and a Caravan Named Desire. I'm your host, Thematicon, and joining me today we have Lemur.
Hello!
Impact.
Hey, what's good, everybody?
And Nick.
What's up, y'all?
So, news this week: the March programming for Disney Channel came out. Had the synopses of Escape to Amphibia and Commander Ann. We'll get into that later. Commander Ann and Spivey. We'll discuss that after the episode. But we're just going to immediately get into Truck Stop Polly, which was written by Gloria Shen, storyboards by Drew Applegate and Nat Marr, and directed by Joe Johnson. So this episode is Polly focused. She's getting a little homesick. She goes to the planners to have some fun, but she kind of makes a mess of things. They got to stop they have to make a pit stop. Polly overhears the planners kind of complaining about her behavior. She gets the idea to run away and swap herself out with a rock that turns out to be an egg for a giant frog-eating bird. Then Polly and Speedy Joe head back to save the planners, but the planners come to them as well. And then Polly eventually takes down the bird herself, and the episode ends with the planners and Polly reconciling and heading over to the pit stop again to get their wagon repaired. And this was a fun episode. We had it was nice to see kind of Polly. Polly was kind of in the background for a bit for these first two episodes of season 2, so it was nice to get a Polly focused episode this early on in the season. We didn't really get that in season 1 until Girl Time, which was mostly an Anne Polly episode. So then I guess A Night at the Inn was Polly's her spotlight. So it was nice to see her be the center of attention again. I liked those small teasers just the characters talking about the progress they're making on the trip. I like how Polly's the episode reminds us that Polly's still like a really young kid. She still needs a little bit of attention, and unfortunately that leads to a bit of conflict between her and the planners, but it's nothing complicated, but with the exception of one thing that I want to talk about later, but we'll get to that. And yeah, overall the episode was just a solid one. Starting with Impact, what were your thoughts on this segment?
So Truck Stop Polly for me is an episode, a lot of early 2A episodes, when I first watched them, I liked them, but I didn't really think a lot about them. They were kind of just okay until we got, till we got to Toadcatcher and Marcy at the gates, just to be real. But when I look back at these episodes now and have a lot more fun with them, and Truck Stop Polly is really fun. It's one of those Polly episodes for me that kind of focuses on her age. Her being kind of the youngest of the group and needing the most attention. It's very much like Night at the Inn, where the family kind of forgets, oh yeah, Polly's like the baby of the group. She's the one who kind of needs the most attention. Because Polly doesn't really feel like that kind of character. She's always kind of independent, doing her own thing, doing what she wants. So it can be easy to forget that she's the youngest of the group. So I really like that about this episode. It still demonstrates that part of her character. And I'll go into some other stuff when we get to it, but I really like Truck Stop Polly. It's fun to look back at this episode with her beat. Because this, even like her being the youngest sibling, no, well, yeah, the youngest of the planters plays a big part into her character arc. Once we get to fixing Frobo too. So yeah, I really like this episode. It's really fun, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, thank you, Impact. Lemur, what were your thoughts on this segment?
I'm gonna echo your thoughts in this episode too, Tom. Like, I think Truck Stop Polly is a very, very solid episode. Like you said, that, nothing really groundbreaking happening this episode. But what we still got is some solid 11 minutes of good planter dynamics, and also Polly actually being more of a actually showing some bit of a character development than she had in season 1. Again, the plot might be a little too, I guess, cliche for the lack of a better term, but it works for the character that Polly is, and where her character arc is going, and when we have the hindsight that we have now in the series. There, I think, like I said, yeah, I don't really have much to say about this episode. It's just a very solid and fun Polly episode. That's enough for me.
All right, thank you, Lemur. Nick, what were your thoughts on Truck Stop Polly?
I mean, I guess basically what everyone else has to say, like, it's pretty solid, and it's pretty solid, offers good development for Polly, and like, it is always interesting to have an episode that tries to remind us that she's still, like, the baby of the group, when, like, most of her scenes are her just going on a rampage and scaring anyone she comes across, so something like this is pretty sweet, I'd say. But yeah, I think, honestly, yeah, there's just not too much to say about this. I feel like, yeah, it offers a lot of great development, but there's just not too much really pull apart of it. Yeah, honestly, those basically just my thoughts.
All right, thank you, Nick. So yeah, just starting off with the beginning of the episode, the planner. So Anne is actually, I like how Anne's the one driving for today. I think it's the first time we see her driving the wagon, and then of course later on, like we'll see her drive more often, especially in Night Drivers. And yeah, it's just a minor thing. It's we see, like, I think Hop Pop was also, like, apparently he drove all night too, so looks like I think last week Hop Pop mentioned that the journey was taking longer than anticipated, so they're kind of making up for lost time.
Yeah.
I was gonna point that out. They're at this point they're halfway into their journey to Amphibia, as we see in that map that they have, the completely accurate map of of Amphibia. No inconsistencies whatsoever.
Yeah,
I
maps.
They
think
had they had a giant gorge they had to cross with like a hot air balloon. Man, I wish we got to see that episode. Like, there's like if you zoom in, there's like a hot air balloon they had to use.
I do appreciate the sense of progress. Just in general at the beginning of 2A. I think I mentioned this in Handy Ann, but I really like this. The map in general is just great. It gives us a good idea of, oh, okay, we're sort of close to Newtopia. It's gonna take like an episode or two to get there. So it was just nice to get that, and something to go back to what you said, Thumb, about Anne taking the reins of the wagon. I really like that. It's a small thing, but I love, like, Anne's kind of like handling a Hop Pop sort of kind of trusts and with a bit more responsibility. He gets a little scared when Polly wakes him up. But I don't know. That's really nice. It's kind of Anne. I interpret Anne as kind of being the oldest sibling of the group. Essentially, she gets to handle more responsibilities and stuff, and it's cool for her to be handling the wagon again. So I always thought that was a small thing, but it's a cool character beat for her. So it's nice. So yeah.
Right. And just to come back to the map again, I think the one what's been consistent about these maps is that uh, the shortest path or the shortest distance between Utopia and Frog Valley has always been blocked off by a bunch of mountains, even in the intro. So
Yes.
yeah, there was always like this barrier that they had to like go around instead of cutting straight through.
Now that they have Joe Sparrow, it doesn't even matter anymore. Honestly, that does explain like why they're able to travel so fast with Joe Sparrow. Like looking at this
Yeah,
map.
yeah. Like, I mean, I guess in this map you could say that Amphibia is not that big. So having giant birds to travel around will make the travel time cut down a lot.
Right.
I do feel like Amphibia feels bigger though, than the
Yeah,
map.
it
Oh,
feels
obviously.
big. Yeah, it feels big, but like in reality, it's not that big. Like compared to like Australia, or I guess we could compare that to Australia.
I think Matt's
I think
mentioned that
you
Amphibia is
go
the size of
to.
Australia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Amphibia is the size of Australia.
I mean, plus the thing, I don't think we're seeing like. I mean, you guys right now, but we're not seeing like all that Amphibia has to offer just by looking at this map. I know they said that Utopia is just the heart of Amphibia, so it's like basically like all the areas from Wartwood to Amphibia, you'd have to not to Amphibia to Utopia. So I mean, plus we have like this what was it like the west, north, and east tower. So
Yeah.
East Coast Tower. So I mean, I think we still have like a lot left to uncover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And just like right before this scene with Polly with the map, there's that quick joke with like her thinking she's seeing Mrs. Croker in the distance. And I'm looking to see what that was. It was like a piece of wood that had like some giant like serpent monster thing.
I felt really bad for Bessie because she's stuck out, right? Bessie's the one that's stuck out there with all the monsters crawling around. Like I'm surprised none of them have gone after her.
Yeah, I'm guessing. And during that scene, I know it's just for comedy. It's just Anne and Sprig were on top of the wagon when this was happening. I guess it's just
Yeah.
this is just a normal thing going through these woods. Or I shouldn't say forest, maybe. Or not woods, jungle, I guess. But Polly tries to get Hop Hop to read a book, and I like how it's like that cut. Not I don't want to say cutaway, just like the cut to that frame. She just immediately like jumps on Hop Hop. The poor guy can't.
Yeah. Oh man, it's so mean, but it's also really funny.
Yeah, I just like how like Hop Hop got to like the first sentence and just passes out.
Yeah.
It has the Muppet face too.
Also that book.
Yeah, the book with the Sprig. The Polly and Sprig's mother wrote in it. She originally
wrote
wrote
that
the.
book.
She originally gave the book to Sprig and like signed it.
Yeah, that's a really nice touch.
Nice foreshadowing to what's to come.
I mean, yeah, and and also I remember Matt. I think before season 2 started, I remember Matt. He did like this interview with the. It was some sort of like small time publication because like Matt was like going around just being a Chad and just interviewing like all like the like smaller journalists.
Smaller personalities.
Yeah, which is nice. And he mentioned like, oh, you're gonna find out what happened to Sprig and Polly's parents this season, and then we
Wow.
like he actually said it out loud. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself for hopping mall, but I'm just surprised. I remember when we first got this like little note from Sprig's mom or from Sprig and Polly's mom, we were all like freaking out, like, oh, is this what Matt was talking about, or maybe there's more?
Oh, like you guys were all worried that was all we're gonna get.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember we had that sort of like I remember there was sort of that fear with Polly and her legs growing after. Like, I know during the like I might be getting a little ahead of myself, but like I know during the Ask Me Anything there was a whole thing where someone asked like if Polly was going to get her legs, and then that said yeah they would appear this season, and then we had the shut in,
Yeah,
and she grew a pair of legs. Right? So I and like some of the people we were terrified that was like that was it. Like Polly was not going to grow her legs up to that point. Like we were all scared of that.
right. But
Oh, that was funny.
yeah. So Paul, like Hop, she can't wake up Hop Hop, so she decides to talk to Anne and Sprig, and then she kind of like bumps into. She, this book has like giant like pop up figure things, like paper pop up things, and it hits Sprig, and then they lose the map, and they have like a close call with Bessie, and apparently Bessie was just going to run into that like that thorny branch no matter what, unless Anne stopped her.
Yeah, so I just feel bad for Bessie because I know Polly's afraid of this journey, but imagine Bessie who's out there
Seeing all this, yeah.
carrying them throughout that journey, like seeing all of it, being exposed. Like they don't have the safety of the flagon. They're out there traversing it.
Yeah, Bessie carried the show for half a season.
Yeah, she deserves more.
She literally
You know.
carried the show on her back for half a season.
Bessie for the win.
Yeah, so then when they steer the flagon, like Anne steers Bessie back on course, and then like it jerks the flagon, it shakes it, and then Hop Hop like wakes up and gets mad at Sprig and Anne, blaming the oldest ones there, and he kind of just like punished, like he just sends them back inside and on inventory duty. And then even there, like Polly kind of starts a mess with wanting to get a bath, and eventually
it
Zach
just
like,
keeps going.
yeah, it keeps going. Like Nick,
like it just keeps going and going and like, and you think it's so, like God, no, and like I'm sorry, but like it was half the episode. I fucking checked. It went on for like 5 minutes, man. They just kept on going.
I mean, it was three, like right until we get to the truck stop. It was like 3.5 minutes.
My God, that's too long. Like, just have us corrupt 1 or 2 times, please.
Or, like,
we do.
What do you mean it's too long? You can't get it. You can't get enough Polly shenanigans, bro.
Like, it took up so much of the episode, and like, I think that's like my only gripe for the episode. It's like, damn, like I feel like it just goes on. I just feel like her constantly screwing the group over just goes on for too long. Because every time you think it's about to be over, she does something else, and it's just like, Polly, just stop.
Yeah, that's fair, because like I feel like just the incident with the with those like mushroom things and like her like static shock, I feel like that could have been enough to like have the planners kind of like talk behind her back.
Yeah.
But then yeah, this
So then
was 3 minutes. So it took us
3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Like,
it's so hard.
yeah, a third of the episode, which okay, I can kind of see, I can understand that criticism.
I mean, yeah, I guess a little.
I think like I don't know. I always feel like they could have had it so then like it was just like Holly messes up like on top of the flagon and that was it. I feel like they had like that third. Well, okay, technically it's like 4 incidents she messes up. I think, yeah. And I think they only had like the last one in the flagon just to set up the zap tap, whatever it was called. You know, Chekhov's gun, set that up for the climax.
Right.
So, but I also like, to me, honestly, I don't mind it that much, just because I feel like it emphasizes it home a little better. But I don't mind it too much. But I can see what you mean, Nick, for sure. So yeah.
I mean, now that I think
Yeah,
about it,
no,
like that
I'll-
is the whole lesson
ahead.
of this episode. Like,
Yeah.
Like tolerating Polly, no matter what, because she's just a baby. But I mean, I'll give this scene this. It did lead to. I feel like their biggest motivation was just all the laughs they could take out and they could pull out of it. And I'll admit, I did find myself like laughing a lot with a lot of the gags it led to.
right? I kind of
Especially hop up abuse. Like, yeah. When he forces them all to go back to the flag and like he tries to man it, then he falls asleep.
and then it goes. They show the flag going over him.
Yeah, that was hilarious. He got fucking ran over. Damn. See, I'll forgive her antics. I'll forgive it. Just for that one joke, I'll forgive them. Jeez.
Yeah, I would have thought Hop Hop would have like some kind of like tire tracks on his head when they pull up to the truck stop. Like,
Man, that must have been so bad. Oh man. Like I don't know, what is it with Hop Hop and it being so funny to bully him? Like there's just something about him.
It's the face. It's like he has a very punchable face.
whoa.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call.
Hop Hop's funny looking.
I wouldn't call it that. I
Yeah.
just think
Yeah.
he's a funny old dude. But
Yeah, he's a
I mean,
funny
have
old
you-
man.
I mean, look at the Chad Hop Pop emote. Like, how would you not want to punch that face?
I wouldn't. Yeah, because
Dang, Lemur?
it's a Chadley emo. I wouldn't even want to step like 5 feet of him without being like blindsided by his absolute godliness.
Oh yeah. You're right. I am a fool. Yeah.
Good.
You're right.
Apologize.
Yeah. I'm sorry for my defamation. I will never speak anything bad to our god Hop Pop ever again.
Good. So yeah, they
I
pull
won't hold back. I won't hold back in the next episode. No.
What's the next? Okay, never mind. They pull up to the truck stop, and I like how the fuel is just feeding Bessie. I don't know what this is. Some kind of vegetable juice, because it reminds me of Planner's Last Stand, where they just like squeezed all the juice out into a jar.
Damn.
But yeah, like I like how they told Polly to get some paper towels, and she doesn't even rip off some. She just brings the whole line.
Yeah, I know. That was hilarious. She just dragged the whole thing over.
Yeah, we get that moment where they kind of like talk about Polly, and I find it understandable that like Hop Hop actually considered leaving Polly with Mrs. Croker, and
Yeah.
I was kind of
Yeah,
hoping
because I mean,
I was kind of hoping they would like have Hop Hop explain later on why he wanted to bring Polly along, because like I mean it kind of makes sense, like just leave the baby at home, but
yeah, because I mean, I've thought of that before, like especially in 2B where things were getting super dangerous, because it's like, I was thinking like, does Hop Hop ever like second guess bringing Polly along for these adventures? And I guess it's sort of like her solo episodes where she's proved herself that she can like take care of herself and be responsible, right? I mean, like she helped them fight against a bunch of like a family of cannibals. So I guess like I guess I was swimming around in Hop Hop's head. He was like, okay, she might be a good addition.
I think like also, yeah, I think you're right there, Nick, because like Polly, I think the thing about this episode is that Anne, Sprig, and Hop Pop kind of forget she's the youngest of the group, right? They kind of, because she's been able to just hold her own so many times in other episodes. I mean, she was able to have boom shrooms in like combat camp, so like it's easy to forget that she is the youngest. Heck, I forget she's the youngest sometimes. So it kind of reminds us in this episode. So yeah.
Yeah, because like Anne, I mean, plus like Polly, she played the straight man so many times in season 1, so it's like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it's just the sort of thing where you sort of forget. Oh yeah, like she's literally a baby, like a 5-year-old. So she's gonna need like this kind of attention,
Right.
Yeah.
no matter how long the joke goes on for. Even if I'm watching over 3 minutes of her screwing up, like I just gotta remember she's a baby.
And I like how Polly leaves at exactly the wrong moment, where the planners actually like take some time to actually be nuanced about the situation.
Yeah, that's great. Don't you love that?
Mm.
And then Hop Hop has coffee, which is great.
Ooh, well, Nelly, yeah, I really love the animation of that scene. Like they went all out for him.
They ever disclose what kind of coffee it was?
Probably whatever Sprig had in Planner's Check-In.
Oh,
No,
right.
probably
Yeah.
not. Probably not. I was just making a joke about that, but
Time Lord Coffee.
I wouldn't be surprised if it is the same brand, though. Amphibious coffee is ridiculous, but then again, like as we learn from the show, pretty much everything in this world is bigger compared to Earth's.
Newtopia probably has like more expensive coffee or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
God for
yeah.
the king's credit card. So I was always pissed off they didn't abuse that, but hey, that's just me.
yeah, in Amphibia
Did he
everything.
still? Oh, okay.
Oh,
Go on.
in Amphibia everything is bigger, especially the static charge.
Yeah.
That's the height and oxygen levels. It makes everything bigger.
So yeah, Polly gets the idea to make the switch with the rock. I like how did she think that rock was another Pollywog? Cause like
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
and then like as soon as she hopped over, she was like, "Oh, man, great! I was talking to a rock or whatever." Like, it was pretty funny.
yeah, and she gets that like
I think
oh, go ahead, Impact.
I think oh, okay. I think it's a funny joke, but also it's a little sad cuz like Polly doesn't really have like she has Soggy Joe this episode, but like they're not really like super close or anything. But Polly doesn't really have like a lot of like
Friends.
friends. Yeah, it's
Ooh.
kind of sad when you start thinking about it. Like Frobo is really like Polly's only like real friend. Once we get to him, every like other time in other episodes, she doesn't really have that like Anne or Sprig relationship. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's a
That's
funny.
why I really that's why I really like that's why I really cherish episodes like Girl Time and like Lost in Utopia. I mean, like those are like the only one-off episodes she has of Anne just going around doing something. Like I guess like
Sprig
damn.
gets schooled.
Yeah, she doesn't really
they have their own little thing on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
I was gonna say, like, bro, like kids in Wartwood cannot handle Sprig, and the only one who can do it is Ivy. No, like, how will anybody handle Polly? Like, if Sprig has a hard time making friends, but like, Sprig has no like. Sprig's problems have nothing compared to Polly, who will literally try to kill you.
As she would.
Yeah.
I mean, but thank God she mellowed out in 3A though. You know what I mean?
But
yeah,
she has to. Yeah,
killing you, she'll like criticize your hobby. Like she'll make you feel like a loser for your hobby instead. Like that's what she'll do now.
and that's why I really appreciate 3A for giving us the IT guiles by making them friends with Polly, which is nice. Like that's another layer to they give another good layer for Polly's character development as she becomes
Yeah.
more older and mellow.
Yeah, fixing Fro was fantastic.
Right.
yeah. I guess the only like person who can truly like handle Polly's intestines is like a pretty much a deaf robot essentially. So, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Polly decides to make the switch with the rock. And then like she, Polly looks like seeing Polly without the with her bow. It just feels so like incomplete.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
cursed. It's so cursed. Like you don't know how much you don't know how much like a single bow adds to her design until she loses it. And like, oh, like it was just disturbing.
She's just a circle. Like that's it. It's a circle with eyes.
Circle with eyes and a bow in the top. That's literally Polly.
Yeah.
And then I like how Anne and Anne and Sprig come and like kind of try and like apologize and like empathize with Polly, but we get that weird joke of how like apparently they're never supposed to bother Polly while she's napping. And just like it was such a
That
weird
was-
thing to leave off on, like with the way Sprig is like terrified of the idea, like he's like experienced this before.
Hey, I can relate to Polly, man. Like if I can't get my 8 hours sleep, like I would be irate.
Like I can't imagine how wild Polly would go. I mean, that was a really funny scene. And I feel like doesn't Sprig do that a lot? Where like instead of just like leaving the room, like he peeks in one more time and he's like, and then he just right like he'll be saying something as he's leaving the room. Then he peeks in one more time to say it again, and like, like I feel like he does that a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember he did that in as early as Stakeout.
Oh yes, they got that was one of them. Then there was that. I think then there was like sort of what was it? It was damn. It was episode 1. It was of season 2. I forgot what it's called. Shit, I literally can't. But it's the scene where like
He
it's,
does
yeah,
that-
it's a scene where Anne and Sprig are talking about the fact that they'll never like know what came out of the factories, and Sprig's like, yeah, Sprig is like, I guess we'll never know.
yeah, he does that
I guess we'll
repetition.
never know. Yeah, Sprig is weird like that, man.
Yeah.
And
Plus, you know, with the numerous times Sprig just blabbed out like really insensitive stuff when people are distressed.
Oh, yeah, he's a monster for that too. I love how he doesn't give a shit. Because
Yeah,
like
but-
every like he thinks the whole thing is over, so he just starts saying whatever the hell he wants to about it.
Hey, but I think he learned his lesson in season 3.
Yeah, he still hasn't. I was waiting, man. Don't count Spray out. Just watch. Just watch him say something downright offensive about what happened. Just wait. Just wait for him.
He's just gonna blab about to Anne's parents and what they're gonna do to Amphibia. Anyways, let's move on.
yeah, so we get to the point where Polly thinks that she kind of hopes that the planners notice, like even though she's like kind of like still mad at them, but then they just leave without her because of that like earlier napping incident. She starts freaking out, and then she decides to like start a new life at this like truck stop, and of course we get the best Wartwood uh town 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 member ever to grace our screen.
Mrs. Croker, hell yeah.
Let's go.
Soggy Joe
Yes.
makes his triumphant return from the
Way
masterpiece
too long.
Ad versus Wild.
Yeah. Damn. Soggy Joe disappeared for like almost an entire literally almost an entire season. Damn. They can't keep him down though. They can't keep him down. Like I'm glad.
I will never understand your guys' obsession with Saki Joe.
He's just so
Like-
fucking funny.
Like out of all the Wartwood characters that you would have picked as a favorite, like Soggy
I
Joe
didn't-
is like the bottom 3.
Because he's peak charcharacter design, Lemur. Just look at him.
Like I just love how unapologetically creepy he is. Like, his first appearance in Anne versus Wild. He's being a total creep. And Anne literally says, "Hey, can you turn on the creep a little bit?" He's like, "No!" Like he just doesn't give a shit. Like, that's when I fell in love. That's when I was like, "All right, Soggy Joe's the best." Like so fucking funny.
Yeah, and I guess Soggy Joe has like maybe like a side, maybe like the camping tours thing was like a side gig or a hobby, and then his main job seems to be like bringing lumber, like shipping lumber around.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe like this is
it's
his seasonal thing. Once the valley opens up and
ooh.
there's
Well,
more.
that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah.
I remember reading someone brought this point back in back when the episode first came out. I kind of remembered it, how like now that everyone, the planners aren't the only ones traveling in and out of the valley, which we see later on with Wally. But yeah, like Soggy
Yeah.
Joe,
And
it's like
wink, wink.
yeah, there's kind of like a winking with Wally. But yeah, it's just interesting to see this
Yeah.
exchange of goods happening.
Also,
That's pretty
can we mention how weird it was to see Polly without her bow tie?
Yeah, we brought it up earlier. Yeah, it just
Yeah,
feels
yeah.
incomplete.
Oh, okay. I guess I wasn't paying attention. Go on.
Yeah, so Polly has her the hat kind of makes things like bearable now. Just like there's something like
Yeah.
filling in the void of that bow before. And I like how they kind of like they do the diner. They just show off the diner kind of with like the jukebox and
yeah.
the lounging.
Oh, the song too.
Yeah, just the lyrics were just like funny little lyrics, and like the server, he just like passes like a little like sippy cup for Polly. And she chugs it down like it's like like it's a drink.
Yeah.
So yeah, she kind of starts venting about her problems with the other truckers hanging out there, and yeah, they give some really insightful advice. And I mean, do you guys mind if I just start like
Hey, go ahead. Yeah, shoot for it, Tom.
start talking
Yeah.
about? So like,
Yeah, right now.
yeah. So what does Soggy Joe first say? He says something about. I'm right now replaying the clip, and so Soggy Joe tells Polly like that she felt homesick and was trying to compensate by recreating a home-like environment through familiar activities. And then the next trucker she mentions, without taking in consideration the inability of your family to provide comfort at this juncture. And then the final guy says, also sounds like you have a problem revealing vulnerability even to those closest to you. So this all kind of sounds like Amphibia, like early season 1 problems, which I just thought was like really interesting. How it was just like spelled out. It was probably unintentional and just more focused on Polly in this episode, but I just thought how like that could be like super applicable to Anne when she first got into Amphibia. And if you want to be a little more like clickbaity, you could argue that each of what Soggy Joe and the other truckers say could be applicable to Anne, Marcy, and Sasha.
Oh my god.
I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't know.
Like the
That
second,
feels a little iffy.
the second one's a little bit of a stretch, but yeah, like I kind of prefer. I started off thinking this was like more relatable to Anne, because like you had Soggy Joe familiar activity, like recreating a home-like environment with familiar activities. That was Domino 2, Hop Luck,
All time.
Girl Time, Best Franz.
Okay.
Wow, quite a bit. She does have quite a bit now. I think about it.
Huh.
And then the
I
without
guess Croak and Punishment.
she was recreating living like a cop, but
You know, her cop shows. She was trying to get Spring to act like a character in one of her cop shows.
and then like the second line about like the inability of like the family to provide like comfort. It's a little bit of a stretch, but basically, like in every one of those episodes, like the planners kind of like present an alternative that she kind of like brushes off until like the end of the segment she realizes the error of her ways. And then like the third line about like the about revealing vulnerability, that kind of reminds you of Anne versus Wild, where the planners kind of know Anne's tastes, and then she kind of like suppresses that and kind of buries that just so she could like, because she's a little too proud to admit it, and then like what just wants to hang out with them. So that was what that was how I interpreted that scene or that like brief 10-second clip.
I think like the suppression thing might work better for like Anne in season 3. That's like the main thing people are talking about with her in that season. Why she's not talking about everything. So that might work for that. I never thought about that scene that way, but that's interesting.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, like the revealing vulnerability. That's like she spent a bit of time being like hiding stuff from her parents. Then eventually, with the letter thing, the letters in Froggy Christmas, she was still anonymous.
Yeah, like she doesn't really want to talk about like her parents about anything that happened in Amphibia. She doesn't even want to talk about the planters that much. May talk to the planters about like what happened with Marcy and Sasha and all that. She's kind of just holding it all in and trying to deal with everything one at a time. So that could definitely be relate to that for sure. So yeah.
Right, and hopefully, yeah, that's just without getting too off topic from the episode from like Three Truckers.
Yeah.
And I like how the truckers aren't like the stereotypical like heavy metal
Country rednecks.
yeah, like hard to approach kind of
Yeah,
people.
they're just
I
super
like
chill.
how they're all mellowed out.
Yeah.
And then the guy that random frog talks about like the rock, and we find out that it's like a
Oh
like
yeah.
it's a giant. Not, I don't want to say it's a giant bird. It was just like a killer bird. All the show in killer birds, like
I just have the question: like, what was the guy doing? Like, how like, what was his excuse? What was his excuse again? Like, why did he leave it by the door? Like, I forgot. There's a quick explanation for why he even did that in the first place.
I think he said like
he was gonna sell it to the
trade it
circle,
like
the circus.
yeah. It was like I think he was like right. I don't know. It was still stupid to put it near the door though without looking at it. So
Yeah.
Didn't he use it to like prop the door? Like that was being used to like keep the door open. I don't know. Let me rewind.
I'm not super sure.
Oh no, it was just laying out there. Yeah, you just left it out there. And they call the type of bird, like the species, is called a rock. It's like it's just ROC, which I would have expected Amphibia to like be a little more creative, like like a stone talon bird or whatever.
Well, we all know that Amphibia sucks when it comes to naming things.
Like their episodes.
Yeah.
They're
Fucking Darcy. Fucking Darcy.
Like they're so good at like writing themes and stuff and how like execute them, but they have no idea how to name anything.
I mean, they know exactly what they're doing. Like, what would you have next? Not next. What have we had before? Like, Fort in the Road, Handy. I mean, getting a little bit off topic,
not
but it
episodes, but like character names or character names and stuff.
Oh, like Mrs. Croaker but it's all swamp themed, which kind of makes sense.
Yeah, but then you have Darcy, which is like, come on.
Well, that we haven't heard that in the show yet. That's like, oh, that's what the cast. That's what she's credited as, so she's probably called that. But
I mean, I hope that they won't like call her that in the show, like, because Andreas isn't gonna call her Darcy. He's gonna call her my lord or whatever.
Yeah,
So like,
but
and I don't think
Darcy's gotta call itself Darcy.
that maybe Sprague will give her the name or something. I don't know.
It's a dark
It seems
version
like something he would
It's a
do.
dark version of Marcy. A Darcy.
Yeah.
Roll credits. So then, yeah, like Polly. Yeah, Polly immediately realizes she needs to go save them, and then, of course, Soggy Joe. This wasn't even his final form. We get Speedy Joe, and we'll refer to him as Speedy Joe for the rest of the segment.
Oh my god.
You're just gonna call him Joe.
That's better and better.
Lemur, have some respect for the guy.
Speedy Joe. He just saved the like. This is like what like. Well, I guess it's technically the first time he saved the family, but still, so he's always been there for the planter family. He's an honorary planter at this point. He deserves his respect.
What? Okay, that's a bit of a stretch there, bud. Calm down.
I mean, he drove Polly there.
Yeah, he helped save the planter's life.
He's an associate of the planter family, all right? Not a member of the.
Nah.
Wait,
Just
did
like-
you,
just like how
did you say
I use.
family? Like, did you say Soggy Joe's a member of the family?
Yeah, he's an honorary member of the family. Just watch.
An
3B,
associate.
He's gonna carry Wartwood in 3B. Just watch. He's
Oh
gonna
my
like call name
God.
himself. He's gonna be like, call me Fighting Joe or something. I don't know.
Oh, that'd be
Oh my
great.
God.
Like, he just
Oh,
takes
okay.
off his, like, he has no hat underneath, and that's when you know, like, shit's going down.
Oh
Yeah, like his hat just drops to the ground, like creates this giant ass crater. Like the fucking sheer weight of it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so then, yeah, like,
Alright,
Speedy Joe takes Polly to, like, meet up with the planners, but of course they're running back, and right before this, like, Anne once again is trying to not apologize, just to like make up for what they said about her earlier with like another story, like with story time, and then that's when the egg hatches and we get Code Purple. I like how the rest of the family has like an actual like they have their own like code word for when Polly goes missing. So they've probably had this discussion before.
It might be in the road rules. Maybe. That sounds like a thing that would be in there. Code Purple or something. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
Hmm.
So then, yeah, they
I
start
bet
rushing.
hop. I bet hop up. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, go ahead, Nick. I'm done.
I was just gonna make a dumb joke and say I bet hop up forced them to memorize all the rules of the book.
Well, at least like Anne was able to read the manual, Bessie's manual, or sorry, not her manual, her life story in one night. So I'm guessing he eventually got time to like sneak in a few pages to Sprig once in a while before he like loses focus. But yeah, they come back. The bird is like growing inside the flagon, and then eventually Polly uses her zap tag move on the bird. Or I should call it the rock. Oh man, I'm thinking about Dwayne the Rock Johnson now.
Yeah, I was too. I did too for a second.
Polly fought the Rock and won.
Sounds like a clickbait title.
Polly versus the Rock. And then,
Bro, that's a wrestling match I would love to see. Holy crap.
but of course, this was at the sacrifice of messing up Soggy Joe's like B-wool like interior. Poor guy, but
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
poor man. But he's happy to help all the time, though. See, like he's such a Chad because he doesn't even care. Like he's just happy to help the planters.
Okay, the one thing that kind of confuses me is that a lot of cartoon shows are very strict about cars and seatbelts, and then this show kind of always gets away with not having seatbelts because they're not a car, but Soggy Joe's like the bug he's riding on is like design. It's supposed to like emulate a car or a vehicle, but I'm guessing they were able to like get past sensors where they could stop a moving vehicle, like, and then like just have like a character get like flung out of it. I don't know, it's just like a weird. Because if this was a car, like 100% sure Disney would say you have to have a seatbelt on, like guaranteed, like no doubt.
I didn't even know.
But then like
I didn't even know that was. Oh, sorry, Thumb.
no worries. It back. Like yeah, it just we've seen multiple times like them like pulling the reins and then like someone falls off. I just they wouldn't be able to get away with that with cars. So it's just interesting to see.
Honestly, I bet they just let them get away with it because they're frogs. But because I feel like this sort of thing always has like a weird answer to it. You know what I mean? Like you think the execs would have like a straightforward answer for why, and then they're just like, oh, I don't know, they're not human, so I guess it's fine. Like that's used. I feel like that's what I always hear like happening.
I didn't even know that was like a big censorship thing. Like it makes me wonder, like in 3A, when like we're in the car like all the time in the chase scenes and stuff. Because like now I got to be looking if Anne actually has her seatbelt on, like during Anne's Terminator or something. I didn't even like know that was a big thing for censors. So yeah.
Well, I guess she eventually has that like back and forth with Cloakbot. But I remember,
Yeah.
I know OKKO, they had to like put like flaming. They had to either make the car unrecognizable, like a demon or something, or they had seatbelts on the hood of the car. And then also I remember in Starverse, like Star was riding on top of a car for like a brief moment, and then she takes the time to like magic up a rainbow seatbelt. So it's something like when there's a car involved, they have to like. There seems to be more. It seems to be a more sensitive topic because they
Maybe Matt uses the whole it's a wagon thing, so it's not a car. There you go. That's it. We don't got to put a seatbelt on them. Like it's not a car, so it's all good.
Right.
Probably use something like that. So
yeah. So that's just me talking about seatbelts for a few minutes, but I like how when the Rock gets defeated, like Polly has that like super like that extra detailed shot of her, and then the bird is just like featherless. It just flies away into the distance. It's just so weird. It just like keeps like flying away until like goes into the night. Yeah, I posted a
Oh my
screenshot
God,
in
that
the
looks
chat.
so
Like it
weird.
just like flaps away, just defying the laws of gravity.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
makes
but-
no sense because why? Like, it has no feathers, so how could it fly? Plus, like, the wing and weight and body weight proportion is so unequal.
Yeah, so
because I
then
mean, Amphibia's always been one to ignore physics.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
was
this
gonna
isn't even
say,
like most cartoony scene, right? we've seen even cartoonier scenes in this one.
what were the other two cartoony scenes? I know one of them was the taking charge, and there was one more that I remember we talked about.
I think it was Sprig's birthday, where like they just constantly like they fall in a tree but instead of literally just fucking dying, it bends over so it could like throw them further.
Oh, right, that was the one.
There's
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, they like land on the umbrella, and then I think like they go on a fire escape, then they fall on the fire escape, then they go into the dumpster. So yeah.
Yeah, so the Rock's defeated. Polly's like bow is conveniently like lying around, and she puts it back on. And then we get that scene where like Hop Hop kind of scolds Polly, and we find out Polly's full name, Polly Petunia Planter.
Yeah,
Which
triple
is-
P.
Yeah, triple P. It's nice. I'm trying to remember. So, okay, Petunia wasn't the relative's name. It was Pollyanna. Like, it seems like she was like named after like the warrior planter,
I
which was
mean-
nice. But like, I'm
See,
yeah. Go ahead.
oh no,
Nick.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm done.
I mean, I would say. I mean, it would have been a really nice touch if she was like Petunia. Like, what was it again? It was Petunia, or I feel like I'm saying it wrong already. Petunia,
Yeah,
right?
Polly
Yeah,
Petunia Planter.
Oh, okay, there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's even so. The context of these scenes are like the characters getting scolded. It is always nice to figure out their middle names. I guess it's like a nice little thing.
Triple P.
Oh, it
Like
reminded
Polly
me. Of,
Petunia Planter, then Ansavisa Boonchoy.
oh, right, yeah. Like all these. I'm pretty sure maybe there's like a reference that like predates the show Arthur, but there was that episode of Arthur where like he punches DW and like he punches his sister DW, and then like the mom calls him by his full name, like Arthur Timothy Reed. That's what this moment reminded me of.
Yeah, you know you're screwed when your parent or your parental figure is calling you by your full name.
So yeah, then we get like Hop Hop's like less mad about like her running away, just more worried about like her, which is nice. And yeah, this was the episode which kind of reminded me that like the planners are like for all these segments, the planners do make it their main goal to like stick together on this road trip. I know Impact brought this up back in Handy Ann, and yeah, like this main idea is that like everyone has to stick together. If they're not together, then there better be like a really good reason why. Otherwise, like they're missing, and you have to spend the episode like reuniting with them. And like until this point, maybe for the road, they tried separating, they came back together. What else did we have? We had Ann Hunter. Planners get separated. Ann has to go get them. Battle of Hoppediah Planner, they were all together. And so the planners are staying together as much as possible. I really like that because that's already the core of the show, and the show's using the crew is using every opportunity to keep them together instead of just like even when each character gets their own like spotlight episode, the rest of the family isn't too far away, which I like.
Yeah, it really just allows everyone to kind of bounce off each other really well too. I think that's just such a great thing about beginning of 2A. It's just you really get that chemistry between the planters a lot more, and it's great because even in the Wartwood episodes, you would have like Hop Hop May just kind of be off doing something else, like in combat camp, right? He's not really a part of the episode, or I can't really think of another example off the top of my head. But you'll have a planter missing here and there. But like now, like not really. Every episode, even if like in the next episode we're gonna get to, Anne's not really there too much. She still has like a funny gag or something like that. The characters are always there, and it's all about bouncing off each other, and it's so fun. So
Yeah.
Right, and even in season 1, like even the episodes where Hop Hop or Polly were off screen, you'd probably get another segment where the whole family was together again. Like even in season 1, there's quite a bit of ensemble cast episodes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think especially in 1A, right? Because I know like I know there were like quite a few episodes where they're all stuck together. I know, like
Yeah, up
taking
until
charge, right?
until Thai feud.
Hop Walk.
Yeah, there's episodes where they interact with some of the other townsfolk, but uh, mostly dating season. You could argue a little bit more with Ivy, but Lily Pad Thai was like the first time Anne like had an episode with another townsfolk, like another townie instead of the planners,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that was like
Wait,
episode.
really?
Yeah, that was like episode
Yes.
8.
Oh, for some reason
Yeah.
I was thinking like Wally and Ann was the first one. I think I just mixed up the order. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Wally and
it's
Ann was
pretty
1
funny.
3.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty funny to think that like besides like the planters, like Stumpy of all people is like
Was the
like
first.
the first friend from Wartwood she made, right? Stumpy. Like we're talking about literally Stumpy.
Yeah, and
Well, like,
I'm getting a little bit off topic, but yeah, like I wish the show like emphasized that more.
Yeah, we need another Stumpy episode. Another Stumpy episode in 3B Thumb. Yeah, let's go for it.
I mean,
I
Stumpy
need another one.
Joe, like Stumpy, Soggy Joe, like there's. I mean, I'm already like hoping one happens. You don't give me hope for another.
Yeah. There's so many characters that deserve another episode.
The Grub Hog,
Yeah, the grill. Jeremy, a
Jeremy.
rescue episode.
Yeah, Jeremy was a
That is
recurring character.
vital.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm getting off topic, but yeah, I think we've covered most of this episode. Can we move on to A Caravan Named Desire, unless you guys want to give some final thoughts? Impact, do you have anything left to add on?
Yeah, I do. There's one thing I forgot to talk about when we in the inn. I forget what it's called, but do you know that frog that's like what's the word? The bartender or whatever. Is that like the same species as like
Barrel?
the frog Yeah, like is it the same
It
or
looks a
like
little
I don't know if
similar.
the eyes are different. Yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to point that out. I don't know. That probably won't mean anything. I don't think that's Barrel, even though that would be hilarious. Living for 1,000 years, just running like a bar or something. That'd be funny. But I don't know. I just found that interesting. So yeah.
I'm trying to look at the guy's his hands, because that's usually like the main indicator of a frog, between a frog and a toad in this show. Yeah, it's a toad. Yeah, and yeah, the way that it's like the back part, it's. I know they're not ears. They're called, yeah, they're horns. Yeah, maybe it's the same species. Yeah, I haven't thought about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure, again, it probably doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
It would be funny if it did
just,
somehow.
Yeah,
But
it was a nice like just the same species. That was. Yeah, that's nice.
I guess one more thing actually, because I just remember I had something else top of my head. I don't know, like, because they're gonna bring back all this stuff, all the amphibia junk we've seen during the invasion and stuff, and I don't know why. I just kind of want because we have to get to Newtopia Castle, we have to fly to it, right? I don't know if that bird like we see in this episode. We've had a lot of flying things that don't show up in the show ever again. I don't know. It'd be neat to bring that bird back. The chick list too. That'd be sick. I won't go into it too much, but like, I don't know. It'd be sick if they brought all those things back. But other than that, that's it. That's nothing really much I have to say about the episode. It's fun. I like it.
All right, thank you, Impact. Lemur, anything you want to any final thoughts on this episode?
No, I don't have much. I think we can move on to
All right,
Caravan.
Nick, any final thoughts?
Oh no, nothing for me. Nothing for me.
All right, so we can get into A Caravan Named Desire. This was written by Adam Colas, storyboards by Alicia Rocha, also known as Ferocia on Twitter, and storyboards also by Silver Paul, and directed by Jen Strickland. So this episode, the planners are traveling in the dry swamp, inspired to play, hop up, loved the play and talks about his acting career. Eventually, they get chased by a giant sand monster. I'll look up the name later. They find this acting troupe. Eventually, Hop Hop auditions, gets the part of the main role. But it's this whole theater thing is actually a sham to rob towns. But then Hop Hop, of course, eventually does the right thing, gives up stardom, and that's the episode. And yeah, this is a fun episode, like a fun Hop Hop episode. This was I like all the acting jokes, all the. We saw back in season 1, Hop Hop was a theater major. He had ambitions for this, and they kind of like didn't really lead anywhere. So it's nice to see him try and get a second shot. I do want to talk a little bit about like the resolution of this episode, but I'll save that for the end. But other than that, I like the. I just like it was a fun episode, and of course we had 2 Hop Hop episodes in a row, which was great. Like not I wouldn't say back to back or in a row, but just last week we had Ballad of Hoppediah Planner. This week we have Caravan Named Desire. It's Hop Hop getting the treatment he deserves. But starting with Impact, what were your thoughts on this segment?
The Caravan Named Desire. I think this is a really cool thing to give to Hop Hop's character. It was set up in season 1 for him being a failed actor, but they really honestly, they had a choice to follow that plot line if they wanted to. They totally could have forgotten about it and done something else. So I love that they bring this part of Hop Hop's character. I think that's really cool. I think it was such a good decision for him. I don't know why. It's kind of like what they did with Polly with fixing Frobo, where they kind of gave a character kind of a new thing to do, a new aspect of them, or just explore it a bit more. I think that's great. Let's see. I love Anne this episode. I don't know why. She's just so funny. Yeah, this is just such a cool episode for Hop Hop, and it was really surprising because I wasn't really paying attention too much when I was watching the show originally to I think it was mostly background stuff a little bit with Hop Hop being a failed actor. It wasn't in your face or anything. I might be wrong. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention. But when we actually got to this episode, I don't know. I just always felt like it fit so well for his character. I thought it was so cool. So yeah, this episode's great.
All right, thank you, Impact. Lemur, what were your thoughts on this segment?
Yeah. Okay, so I think this episode was fine. It's nothing too groundbreaking, but it's not terrible either. I do find it the least. I think this was my least favorite episode of the show, but not because it's bad, just because I just like what I said with Ballad. I just don't really find anything that much noteworthy. But watching this on rewatch, watching this again, it does make me appreciate this episode a little bit more, considering that there are some things that was mentioned in this episode that did play out in the future, which is interesting. Mainly it's because of Hop Hop's character trait of being an actor actually being a major part of this episode, and also playing a big role in other episodes in the future, just like in True Colors and Hop Hop Goes to Hollywood. And yeah, and also there are a couple of themes here too that I did not expect to pop out in this episode too, which we'll probably tackle later. But yeah, aside from that, and also Anne's role in this episode being really, really hilarious and enjoyable, I Yeah, Caravan of Desire is actually a little better than I previously thought. It was a good episode, which is probably a trend for season 2 Hop Hop episodes at this point for me.
All right, thank you, Lemur. Nick, what are your thoughts on Caravan Named Desire?
Honestly, man, like I the first time I saw it, I love this episode. That has not changed. Rewatching it now, like it's like there's something about Hop Hop episodes, man. Because I know you can always expect quality coming from them, and like that's exactly how I felt this one. Just all around great fun, great humor, and just great development for Hop Hop. Because going on this road trip, that is like such a break from their usual routine of living in Wartwood, right? Because like in Wartwood, Hop Hop, he's just he's just like I'm not gonna put down vegetable farmers, but I'm sorry, but he's just a vegetable farmer who takes care of his ungrateful kids. Like that's what Hop Hop does in Wartwood. But out here on the road, now we get to explore areas of Hop Hop we didn't really get to touch upon back on Wartwood. Here, like it's his pat. Like how is he feeling about his unfulfilled dream of becoming an actor? And we gotta see. We gotta see what this episode wanted to do with it. And yeah, it's just it's a really good episode. I know we don't have any too. I know we don't have any. I know we don't have like too many moments that like do something with that dream, but like I do like seeing it pop up now and then because of all the characters in the cast. Like, come on, Hop Hop deserves happiness so much. Like he suffered so much, so him getting his little finish here was just great. Wait, also, shit, I have to ask, like, how much time did he waste? How much time did this fucker waste on the journey? I mean, like they were doing that for a while, weren't they?
Yeah, they
Like,
were
could've
moving
just been
around for a
2 hours,
while,
like-
but maybe
yeah. They're doing it for days.
But actually-
Anne was trying to solve her puzzle for how long?
it's
God damn.
it's possible that I think for in Truck Stop Polly they were halfway towards Utopia, but then by the time we get to this is episode 3, right? Yeah,
this
so
is
this is
great.
literally like
Yeah.
halfway
Yes.
on the trip to Utopia, like halfway there. Well, episode 6 they've reached Utopia, so maybe
Yep.
This is
episode
halfway. They're halfway done with the journey. So it took them like 2 weeks. Yeah, it took them 2 weeks to get halfway into Utopia.
it could be that you could argue that maybe uh traveling along with this theater gang it kind of like sped things up because they're traveling like towards Utopia or something. Hopefully.
That makes sense. Yeah, they're
That-
traveling along the desert swamp. Yeah, makes sense.
That's just
Yeah.
headcanon though. But
I mean, I'll believe
Yeah.
it because I know, like, as soon as they hop back into the flag, I'm like, I know the very next episode. Yeah, the very next episode, that's when they started saying things were moving smoothly, like a lot smoothly than before, right in Coiler's Pass.
Yeah, or
yeah, so we get the we kind of covered Hop Hop's acting career. Like we don't need to talk about the first segment other than there's like a couple of gags where Anne's just like dried up. It's so cursed, and then she just dumps water on herself.
Yeah, that was really funny.
And
I love how like she always like it's been over 3 months at this point. Like she's still underestimating Amphibia, just how dangerous it can be. Like she almost died.
yeah,
she forgot to hydrate herself. Also, to be fair, like this is the first time that Anne has stepped out of Wartwood. So yeah, I could understand why she underestimated how dangerous Amphibia could be because the dangers in Wartwood aren't really similar to the dangers outside of the valley.
Right. And then yeah, we had like the sandworm try and chase them as Hop Hop was like talking about his past. And then eventually they're saved by the playwright Renee Frogers. And I'm trying to see what this is like if this is referencing someone like a
Yeah, sounds like it is, kind of.
I thought it was like Kenny Rogers or something.
Huh.
not sure, but even the episode title itself is a caravan named Desire was it's kind of like a play on the the play, like an actual play called A Streetcar Named Desire. And at the like I read this in English class, so like I kind of was trying to like apply my literary brain,
Nice.
trying to figure out maybe there's some connection between Blanche Dubois and her leaving her southern upper class lifestyle into this shaggy apartment, and about the issues of like the way institutions have like restrict women and their ability to their mobility to do anything. But nah, this episode was just
All-
this was just a play a play on the title.
all of that for all of that for a silly kid show. Okay.
I mean, they didn't cover any of the themes from the play. It was like a funny title, but
Yeah. I mean, hey, that's what Amphibia fans do. We always overthink stuff.
right. So yeah, like
Also, plus, Susan Rogers VA. Is that worth mentioning?
Yeah, Susan Egan. She was a voice on. Oh, okay. Yeah, she voiced Rose Quartz from Steven Universe. That's cool.
What? What?
Oh,
Wait, you
nice.
did not know this?
Whoa!
Wait, you did not
Whoa!
know this, Nick. Wait, are you serious?
Whoa! Rewind! Holy shit! That's amazing!
Wait.
Wow.
Wait, you did not know this? I thought you would know. What? Okay.
No, I don't really pay attention to the voice actors too much. So that's amazing.
Bruh.
All right, I love this episode even more now.
Bruh.
I love this episode even more now, just because of that. Steven Universe will present.
Bruh moment.
Yeah. So Hop Pop gets the part. We get that joke of Anne and the tooth play.
Oh, I forgot that this was from that episode. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, so that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Bro,
I
that
think-
meme
I
was
think it's
so
pretty-
long.
Yeah, it's a pretty. I feel like that's like a pretty iconic joke to Amphibia, right? Because I feel like even before like the show really took off, like I could have sworn there was like a pretty popular YouTube video, like a clip of it on YouTube.
Yeah, it was a pretty popular meme.
Right, and there's a I forgot the name of the YouTubers. They covered like in depth like the comedy of Amphibia with this clip with that joke, which is nice.
Yeah.
And then like while all this is happening, like Sprig also has that like Sprig has his own little side plot with that other kid Francois, or that's not even his like real name. He's just method acting.
Francois.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just funny seeing him trying to fit in with the group.
Yeah.
And then,
He was
Again.
such a loser. He was such a loser trying.
Pretty consistent with Sprig's character too.
yeah, and then like Polly just effortlessly like fits in with her own persona. And then very like
Low.
that moment where Hop Hop auditions and doesn't get the part, he just stays there.
Okay, I won't lie. Okay, I Hop Pop was like a bit snobbish at the start of the episode because when the kids didn't know like a couple of like acting terminology and he made fun of them for it, I was glad he got shut down like that just because of that. He was so arrogant for the first 5 minutes for the episode.
Yeah, he got. Yeah, I guess the feeling of rejection did that to him. And then how does he? Oh, and then like he kind of just like brute forces his way into getting the part, which
Yeah.
I guess that's how he got the part in the first place, which is okay, I guess. I mean, when he's not acting, it's when he has like his best acting skills, but so he gets the
When
part. We get that
Yeah.
montage. Oh, sorry, Lemur, go ahead.
I was gonna say like when he was just being himself and like not really like when he just acts naturally. He's just he does his best work. That's just what I was gonna say.
Right, and it, like, him being true to himself inspired a revolution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we get that montage of Hop Up, like, performing, getting praise, and Sprig trying and failing to fit in, and Anne trying to complete her puzzle, and that failing too. And oh, there's like the montage. There's like there's multiple like towns in the dry swamp. One of them is called Baby Town for babies. I Stonewell, and I'm just going through the montage quickly. Mountain Ridgemore. Yeah, that's what we get. And at the same time they're avoiding the sandworm. And that was pretty much like the first half of Caravan Named Desire. And then the midpoint is when Hop Up like eventually like interrupts Renee in the middle of a meeting with some like two like buff frog guys, and eventually we find out this is all just a heist or multiple heists. And yeah, I guess yeah, just to continue what happens in the episode, like Hop Hop is left with this like moral dilemma of like being being the distraction while these towns are getting robbed. And he still goes through with it, but of course like we see him like talk with Anne about it, and he kind of like
The
go ahead
um
Impact.
oh, I wanted to say the whole scene with yeah, I think this is the scene where Hop Hop and Sprig come in like to mess up Anne's puzzle. I don't know why. That scene is so funny. Just like something like with the comedic timing of it, and like the facial expression of Anne the whole time, like she really wanted to get that puzzle done. Hop Hop just jumps in, destroys it, and then she gets tired of it and looks back. She's looking down at the puzzle the whole time. Every single time they pound at the table, it's funny. I don't know why, but like that whole scene is hilarious. Like someone has to analyze that scene and why it's so funny, because it's great. I love it.
I guess it's the animation plus. Yeah, it's the animation of like them slamming the table and seeing Ant's facial expressions just change.
Yeah, it's something about the timing too. I don't
Yeah,
know.
the
It gives
timing.
it
Mhm.
yeah. It just gives it like enough time for like Anne when Hop Hop leaves the room to for her to be like, oh thank God, finally, okay, and then continue. Then Sprig just jumps in, and then Polly just comes in out of nowhere, and I don't. It's so good. It's such a funny joke. It's great. So yeah.
Yeah, I like how much they focused on like the puzzle, like on the puzzles like slowly like coming apart every time like him Hop Hop and Sprig hit the desk, and then eventually like Anne like hits it too at the end. It's a nice like little detail.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. And her reaction to Polly is great. Like
Yeah, that was
the
sweet.
whole thing. Yeah. I think I think Anne is really cool in these two episodes with her not being like the main character. I don't know why. They're able to do a lot of funny jokes with her in these episodes, especially this one. I kind of like her not being the. I mean, I love her as a protagonist of the whole show, obviously. But like for these episodes, I don't know. It's fun having Anne not be the main character and just be a side character and bounce off people. She gets so many comedic moments in this episode. She's honestly the highlight for me. She's great. So yeah.
Yeah, and then eventually we get like that final play. Well, right before we get the like Hop Hop starts performing, and then at the same time like Sprig like pours his heart out to Francois, gets rejected, and then like I guess this was all part of the act for Sprig. Just like the way he like you see him like you think I still don't know if he was being like honest or not with Francois in the beginning, but like I guess when he gets mad at him, you kind of realize like this was Sprig's plan all like this is Sprig acting all along. I'm not entirely sure. like the part where he opens his heart out to like Francois, gets rejected, and he's like super like pissed off, and then only after Sprig like yeah gets mad at Francois, then Francois like treats him like an equal. Like
I love this. Sprig did that. I don't know. I would have loved if he never won with him at all. He just insulted him and then just dipped out. Like that was it. I don't know. That moment for Sprig was so good for me. I love it. So.
I would have liked if like Sprig like actually legitimately was like angry with Francois, and then like Francois was like expecting Sprig to come back because he thought he was acting.
I just love how fast he comes back and he's already dressed, ready for it. Like, oh man.
So yeah, then we get the final act of that the dry swamp, like the play. Then Hop Hop eventually, when he's reading the lines, kind of has that like he kind of like he kind of realizes that like he should come clean and at exactly the wrong like right when he reveals like the truth, the Renee and those like toad goons like get caught, and Renee makes her escape, and we get that whole train. I wouldn't call it because there's no. I guess you could call this like a train chase or a car chase, or it's that classic thing where it's like you have like a really long vehicle moving and people are fighting on top, which was nice, which was a neat thing. We also got like the one guy with the Wilhelm scream.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, that took me out of the episode in like the best way, because it's such a movie thing to do. It's such like a iconic scream.
One thing I do want to mention that I always felt was like a little weird about Hop Pop's episodes, and this goes back to Hollywood Hop Pop too. I think like I don't know, it's always so weird. Hop Pop has to always sacrifice his dream, like for like some greater good or something, like all the time. Like I don't know how the episode's supposed to make me feel about that, because it's not like acting here. It's a bad thing to help Renee out and such. But I think like I don't know, it always kind of sucks that Hop Pop always has to sacrifice his dream and his passion all the time. Even like having to take care of Sprig and Polly. I don't know, how much this has into it, but I mean like he wasn't supposed to take care of them like originally. So it's just so weird. It sucks that he always has to sacrifice his dream and for something else all the time. Like I'm not really sure how the episode wants me to feel about it. Does it want me to feel good that he did it, or like I always just find it so unfair that Hop Hop gets treated like that. Something he loves and enjoys, he must lose it every single time. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thank you, Impact. Yeah, like I wanted to touch on that a little bit, and I know Nick is gonna cover like something similar relating back to what you were kind of frustrated about with Hop Hop segments. I think this is why I kind of like Hollywood Hop Hop more than this segment, even though they do share some similarities about Hop Hop getting like famous again. But yeah, Hollywood.
Yeah.
This episode is kind of cynical, where like Hop Hop has to give up his dreams because this whole thing he signed up for was a sham. But without getting
which isn't his fault.
Yeah, without getting too off topic, I think Hollywood Hop Hop like is more optimistic, where like the gig, the role is actually like legitimate.
Yeah, and I think with that too, like I don't want to drift too much off topic as well, but I will say that I do like that Hop Hop at the end of that episode still wants to do something else. He wants to be a director. That's so cool. Like his dream doesn't die. You know what I mean? He just gets a new dream. He gets something different. And eventually, hopefully, by the end of the show, he gets to do something with that. Because it's just kind of unfair. Because, like, I don't feel like Sprig and Polly or even Anne, well, okay. Yeah, have to, like, lose anything like that they love and enjoy. You know, Hop Pop's an old guy. Like, he just wants to enjoy life to the fullest. You know what I mean? And it sucks he has to lose it every single time. So hopefully he'll get something like that by the end of the show with him being a director and such. So, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, eventually, like, Renee is taken down by her, like, own... Like, the sandworm pretty much, like, derails everything, and then, like, her own bag of money, like, crushes underneath her. Or the money she stole crushes her as well, and then eventually they're all arrested, and Hop Up has to kind of, like, cover up his involvement in this, while, like, the planners are not helping at all. Yeah, he just chucks them into the wagon and just drives off. So it's a very, like,
Yeah, that was a
abrupt
real-
ending.
Yeah, that was a really funny last minute scene right there. Like I just like I love the cop. Like the cop just gets more and more suspicious of him, just staring him down. Oh, that was so good.
Yeah, and I guess Nick, you can talk about that little line
Yeah.
you pointed out.
Because it's like I know it's a sort of thing.
Oh, you should tell what the line was in the context.
Oh yeah. So yeah, it was back when Renee and Hop had that whole interview for like not interview like that for is it called interview? I don't know.
Just when he
it's when he yeah when he got the role for
no, not
yeah.
the role when he finds out that it's a sham.
Oh shoot, I'm being dumb then. Okay, yeah. So it's when Hop finds out that it's a sham, and Renee like fills in on all the details, what they're doing there. And at first, Hop he's pretty conflicted about it, but then Renee comes over and just tells him that every dream has its price. Am I right? And like, yeah, I was very surprised to hear that it came from this episode first. I like my closest memory like to that line getting dropped was just Barrow's Warhammer, where Grime tells Saucer that like for like every dream has a price, right? And like, yeah, it just made me think like, yeah, I feel like this is a theme, a really big theme of like just the more I thought about how this related to some characters, the more I realized it's just that this is like a very big theme that just relates to the show as a whole. With and I know like Matt, I know Matt has like talked about this in about 2 or 3 interviews now, and I guess like yeah, and I feel like this is something that I just love for the community as a whole, just to talk about more because it's one of those themes of the show that you don't realize it's there until like Matt points it out, and then like everything just starts connecting. Like you have Hop, Marcy, Sasha. Like you could even like put like examples of Anne in there. I mean, Andreas, like the core. Like there's always been this sort of I don't know what to call it. Like I don't want to call it karmic justice, but like there's this whole thing. I feel like even whether or not your dream's good or bad, like there's always something. There's always like a caveat to you fulfilling your desires, like whether or not that's a good desire or a bad one. Like there's always something at the end of it too. And I feel like it's really interesting that this whole theme was introduced in season 2 and not season 1. And I feel like that's sort of representative of the show reaching newer heights and just diving into more complex themes than it was handling before. Because back then it was just like what? Just like friendship and like self-determination or something. And now we're like now we're reaching more abstract themes for Amphibia. And that's just why it's so interesting to think about, because like it feels like a theme that doesn't belong in this show, but then somehow like it also has its place there too. Like it's odd. It's weird, but it works.
It does. Yeah, it's pretty much like does the ends justify the means or something like that? Which, yeah, like I guess, yeah, and I guess we all collectively forgot that this came from this episode because Barrel's Warhammer is just more memorable.
Yeah, I think it's because Barrel's Warhammer makes it a stinger. Like it makes you something you have to think about. Like, but like it can't in this episode. Not really. Like, it's just like a line. You're like, whatever. It doesn't matter. But really what made me think about that theme was like when Matt mentioned it. as soon as Matt said something, it was like, wait, what? Hold on, that, and then yeah, like Nick, like what you said, like how connecting it to other characters and stuff. It's so weird, but like it makes me think that's gonna be a big thing in 3B. Like I don't know, someone's gonna have to sacrifice something. It's probably gonna be like something to do with Andrea's backstory, and has to sacrifice something to use her powers and stuff. Like I don't know, maybe sacrifice the friendship. Who knows? Could be interesting. So
There's a lot of things, like
yeah.
even the relationship with the planners, because they're all from different worlds. But I know
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the quote is from the Lightbox interview. I'm trying to. I had it written
Yeah, I
down.
think it. I no, hold on, wait. I think it's also his interview right after True Colors with that one. I forgot his name. That one guy. Like
And the
it
man with a
was.
thousand
Yeah,
thoughts.
yeah. That guy. Yeah, because
Oh
I just remember
yeah,
he said because I think like the most obvious answer for this theme is I mean Marcy, right? Like she's like the obvious answer when you think about this theme and like what chasing after
dangerous
your
too.
deepest desires like mean for you. Like it's so I just remember I think that's when he mentioned it. That there was like consequences for like I forgot how he said it, but I
I
just
have the
know he brought
quote.
it up in there.
So this was from the Lightbox interview. It's about 16 minutes and 48 seconds. There's a running theme in Amphibia of, the price is paid or every dream costs something. And I think with a through line like that, it's going to get a little heavy at times. And for me, I think that kids you and I all know feel this way, and they're really smart, and they love to see these things explored because, it's not all rainbows and sunshine and bubblegum, but what you want the full spectrum of the human experience, you know what I mean, in the show. Yeah, I kind of like simplified whatever Matt was talking about at the time, but like I didn't cut any of the important words out.
It's crazy to me to think that Amphibia has so many like abstract and heavy themes in it, but like not many people try and like analyze that.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of like analytical content for Amphibia, period, to be honest.
And I
I don't
think
know. I wish it was a lot more.
And
yeah,
even then, if we had those, it's pretty haphazard and very bad.
I,
Oh,
there's an
I didn't
attempt
say
by
all
some
that, but
people in
okay.
the community to like yeah, like I wish there was more like analysis videos for Amphibia, because like I feel like this is the most like if we're talking about themes and yeah, if we're talking about themes, I think Amphibia is like the most. I'm
Yeah,
biased
it's
because like
pretty.
I'm looking at the show like way more closely than I have ever done
Any other show.
for any other
Yeah,
show. Like
I agree.
Yeah, yes, yeah,
I
same,
mean,
honestly.
I think compared to yeah, I think compared to like a lot of it's just a lot of shows that have come in the past. I feel like there is a lot more thematic analysis you can do with Amphibia. I mean, like how many like I want to start bragging on Amphibia, but I don't know. I'm just saying though, like, it's like
I feel like most people.
how many shows where you can like how many shows can you name like I mean, can you name other shows that have like a really great foil between its like like Anna and Sasha, foils right there. Anna and Andreas, foils right there. Like I'm just and then like you just and then Andreas's view on friendship versus what Anna's shown with a positive friend. Like it's just I don't know. I mean, there's so much you can like analyze of this
yeah,
show, in my opinion. But like,
Oh
I don't want to
yeah,
like,
Hmm.
I don't want to complain this show too much. But like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I think people are so used to analyzing story beats and story elements, characters, but not really analyzing like abstract themes and stuff. Like the shows that are heavily reliant on like abstract themes aren't really that talked about. That's what I'm gonna say.
I
I mean,
think it's also
That's why
oh,
Adventure Time season 6 has been fall off the wayside because it's too abstract for people.
I think it's also one of those things of we might be going like too much into fan base stuff for a little bit, but all I'll say is like I think like it's also just a thing of Amphibia is just a smaller show um than like say like the Owl House or like even if we want to go into like like older shows like Avatar or something, but that show's been out for years, so like everyone can talk about that, right? But like, yeah, I think it's just Amphibia is just smaller, and its story isn't complete just yet. You know what I mean? So like a lot of things, I try to even I try to analyze the show, and sometimes I'm like, well, I got to see where this happens with this, or if I want to analyze the antagonist for the show, I'm like, I gotta wait for Andreas and Darcy to do something. So it's a lot of just wait for the whole piece to be over kind of thing too. But yeah, it is a shame we don't get a lot of analytical content. I try, to try to post something here and there, but yeah, even like, no, I won't go too much far into that. But yeah, I wish there was a lot more to it. So yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to drag off Amphibia, but I will say, I think like, yeah, I don't know, I haven't seen, just compared to a lot of like other Western animated shows, like I haven't really seen like, damn, how do I be as uncontroversial as possible? And I feel like, I don't know, because I haven't really. Matt's like, I think the only creator I've heard ever use the word like thematic through lines. Like I've never, like, I feel like compared to like a lot of other shows, like Amphibia really does try to like bring in as many themes as it can and just execute them like excellently. Like I feel like, I don't know, like I don't feel like I've seen that many other shows where I can just pick apart like all of its themes and just what it's doing.
There is one show that I can think of, and which is BoJack Horseman.
Right, but that's like,
that's an adult show,
yeah,
which is a different ball field. I get that, but still.
I'd recommend Sentinel Running. Hey, if you want to do a lot of thematic analysis, go watch Sentinel Running. I promise, it's worth it.
Oh, and also Infinity
Train. I don't know.
It's
just Infinity Train too. It's just compared to its like contemporaries. I mean, you just look at the grand scheme of things. Like just you compare like Amphibia to like all these other Western animated shows that that sort of had like the whole like a serialized plot itself. Like you compare it to them and you just think like, I mean, how much do they play with their themes versus Amphibia? Like, you know what I mean? That's what it sort of separates Amphibia from a lot of shows for me personally.
Also, if I could say one more recommendation, Magic Knight Rayard, please watch it. It's a good show.
Wait, what was it called?
Magic Knight Rayard.
Magic Nightmare?
Can I explain what that show is? Like, Liam, you want to explain it? Like,
yeah, sure. I mean, I get we're gonna cut up some time, but I get if it's fine with them.
Wait. This feels like you're like revving up for like a 2-minute like explanation.
No, don't worry. 30 seconds or less. I'll give you 30 seconds. It's I think it's like a 90s. It's a 90s anime that Amphibia is heavily inspired by. Like a lot of the lore in Amphibia, you can just look towards this anime from the 90s and just go, huh? There's quite a bit of similarities. Yeah, that's as far as I'll go into it.
Oh, you're talking about Rayard. Oh, okay.
Yes. That's what I'm gonna say. Go watch it. It's a good show.
Okay, and yeah, I think we've covered this episode, right?
Yes.
Then we can get into we can get into the 3A synopses. Wait. Sorry. Truck Stop Polly. We didn't talk about the final scene where Hop Up actually reads the storybook to everyone, and it's about like some guy like getting shanked in an alleyway.
Oh, yeah.
That was a dark story. Got shanked.
This is Polly's like favorite story, and this was given to them by their mom.
The Planet Family is one strange one.
We got the 3A. We can move on to the 3A. Not 3A. Actually, yeah, the 3A finale, and then the 3B episode in March. So, let me pull up the descriptions. Oh, I had it here earlier. Whoops. Sorry, just give me a sec. So, Escaped Amphibia was with one shot at getting the planners back to Amphibia, Anne and her parents must go up against Mr. X and the FBI. Commander Anne. Anne is made leader of the Wartwood resistance, even though she's not good at the job. Sprivy. Sprig and Ivy devise a scheme to be together. So, I guess we probably don't need to talk about Commander Anne too much, because last week I think we kind of covered our ideas of what the segment could be line up pretty well with this description. But let's just start with Sprivy first. Sprig and Ivy devise a scheme to be together. This is a very... Why do they need to have a scheme to be together? And why is this the second segment? Those are my...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue that Commander Anne needed to be first, because that's immediately addressing the events of Escape to Amphibia, and then Sprivy maybe is like a little bit lighter to return things to normal.
Yeah,
So that's what I'm.
I was
Oh, go
gonna
ahead.
say, like, why did they devise a scheme to be together? Because like they're in a war right now, because they're embroiled in the middle of a conflict between Wartwood and Andreas, and because of that, they probably don't have a lot of time to get together. So I feel like they're going to make a plan just to get together in order to get away from the war for a bit and just spend time on it, because they really don't spend a lot of time that much, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I
Impact, what are you
think
thinking?
like
Oh, sorry.
what did I say? So I wasn't here for last time you guys talked about Sprig Ivy, but I'll say this. I think like I don't know. This is so weird to have for the second half, though, right? Because second half episodes are always big stinger ones, right? There are Sasha episodes. There are huge bangers. I feel like this episode's hiding something. I don't know. There's something about about the description that feels like there's something a lot bigger going on here. I don't know. But I'm not like super duper like I'm excited, but like the name drew me off so much. I thought Sprig Ivy was like when I first heard it, I thought it was like a fake title or something. I didn't think it was actually real. So
Wow.
Reminds me of the early 2A days when Marcy Aids was dubbed as Enter Marcy.
yeah, that's really it. For those two episodes, Sprig Ivy, I'm excited for, but I mean, I'm kind of glad. Like, I'm more excited less about Sprig and Ivy and more about like what's gonna happen besides them. I guess.
Wow.
So, I mean,
It's facts.
Wow.
I mean, like,
Ruined their impact.
I'm just saying, like, we're in 3B now. Like, there's no more like fucking around. You know, like we're in a war now. So like,
We
no, they may not be
yeah.
fucking around with what happens in this episode though. They might not.
Nick, I'm
they
guessing
might not be fucking around with what happens.
Nick, he sounded like you before I told him what I thought was gonna happen.
Actually, I was like, we were talking about this earlier before we started the podcast. Can you guys talk about what you guys think what's gonna happen in this episode? Because I am very curious.
Yeah, go ahead.
Who?
All right, Thom. This is it. This is your chance,
Yes,
Thom.
Well,
Here you go.
here's your
I
cue.
talked about it last week, but yeah, I think Sprivy might break up in this episode.
Okay, but like, if you do think that, how, like, with this description?
Because what, like, in the final season, like, the last time they hung out together was like maybe in a little bit of reunion, and then now it's like, yeah, this is a good time for me to look like a clown. And like, I'm not gonna die on this hill. Like, if it doesn't happen, like, honestly, that's great. They're together, but like, it's kind of weird how this episode is called Sprivy, and this is after like what, 2.5 seasons, and then the description is like trying to like focus on how they want to be together, but then like maybe it's like maybe this isn't like a permanent thing, and since it's Sprig and Ivy, like I can imagine if it's ending, it's going to end on good terms. There's not going to be any kind of like bitter feelings between them. And then Hop Sylvia is less weird. So yeah, that's my main rationale.
Is that the reason why you don't like Spivey?
No, I do like Sprivey. It's just that I want Hop Sylvia to be less weird, and then everything. I worked my whole conclusion, like I worked my whole explanation backwards from that conclusion.
Absolutely for life, right there.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, that's basically it.
I think the more I think on Sprivey, I feel like it might just be their intended cool down from a lot of the drama that we're gonna be going to, like like Escape to Amphibia, then Commander Ann. I feel like those two episodes probably have like a lot of like dramatic scenes with them. So I'm guessing, I'm just guessing Sprivey might be a lot more chill compared to it, because I know they have to because I know Sprig and Ivy, they've always wanted time to just spend alone, just hang out with each other, but like, Sprig always has to leave and go do other stuff, and I know Ivy's been pining to have her own adventures. So I guess like I feel like Sprivey might be them trying to make up for like lost time in a way, but I also do. I mean, I don't lie. I also do like Thumb's idea. Like I think it'd be very fun, not just to see the show go bananas over that, but also like the fandom. I think it would be very funny to see the fandom lose their minds.
But yeah, like I think that's enough time on Sprivey, unless you guys want to add anything on before.
Let's probably talk about Escape to Amphibia now.
Yeah, just to touch on Commander Ann, we talked about last week how like that's going to be Ann trying to readjust to Wartwood, and Sasha and all the other stuff going on is going to be a big part in that. So if you're interested in that, just like listen to last week's recording, and just there's already a timestamp for that discussion.
Also, if I do want to add Commander Ann, I do think Commander Ann has a lot of potential, like character interaction content, like like Planters coming back with the house and seeing Grime ruining their house, and
Yeah,
like
there's
Sasha trying to hold her old tendencies in when she sees Anne struggling to become a leader, but also Anne probably going to seek help from Sasha even though she really doesn't want to. So yeah, there's a lot of potential with Commander Ann, and I'm very excited. Hopefully they can do everything that they can do. But
I'm predicting this is probably going to be the funniest episode of 3B. I feel like there's so much comedic potential with like the character interactions we have going on in this episode. Like imagine like Sprig seeing Sasha and Ivy like being friends and just passing out from that. Just from the very existence of those two having a friendship. Like I think it would be hilarious.
I think I don't know if I can go too much into it. If you want to just go straight to Escape to Amphibia.
No, go ahead. Give your thoughts.
Oh, okay. So like the cool thing I'm excited for Commander Ann is the show's all about change, right?
Yes.
Like changing and growing as people. What I'm excited for is like this is one of the times where Ann has to accept change. Well, I guess you could say Marcy at the gates, but this is one of the few times Ann has to accept change of somebody else in some other place, right? Like she thinks she's got Amphibia down, right? She's been there for like 5 months. Like she knows what's up. She knows what happens. But like it's gonna be really cool because that's something like Sasha had to learn that Ann had changed in Reunion, and she doesn't do that until she loses the entire time because she's the antagonist. But this is like the first time Ann's gonna have to accept like other change from other people. Kind of like how her parents had to accept her change as a person. It looks like Ann's gonna have to accept Sasha's change as a person, Wartwood's change in general. And Commander Anne's going to be her getting punished for her not accepting that Amphibia is a very different place. Everyone's a little different. Maybe everyone's a little bit grittier. Everyone's a little tougher, with being in a war and stuff. So she may not be able to handle it. So I'm excited for this episode for Anne. This seems like a really, really good beat for her character, for her to try to be leader and try to think she knows everything, but she really doesn't, because Amphibia's changed. She has to accept that fact too. So I'm excited for this episode.
All right.
Plus seeing Anne, seeing Sasha trying to be a better person, it would really screw her. Yeah, it would really screw her up, and I'm very excited. She can't comprehend Sasha actually being nice.
Yeah.
Right. So then, yeah, just since we're short on time, we can go into Escape to Amphibia. So this episode kind of confirms that this is going to be focused on the conflict between Mr. X and the Boon Choys and Planters, and that's kind of what we anticipated this entire time. And
plus the portal.
Yeah, plus the portal. So we now kind of get the idea that the portal's ready, and then the FBI is closing in on them at the same time. So there's going to be a race, maybe to get to Terry's portal, or even hold off the FBI while the portal's getting fired up or getting activated.
I really do hope we get at least a goodbye with the human characters, because I feel like they deserve at least some screen time with this episode.
Oh yeah,
and I do think
because I will miss them.
I do think because the way the townies on Earth have been set up, or the Earth characters, they all have a reason to be at the portal when it goes down, when it's activated. Because Terry's the scientist, the IT, Ali and Jess are the engineers. You have Dr. Jan's the historian. So there's a reason for all of them to be there, and then maybe just throw in Humphrey just for
good measure.
Yeah, just a good measure. Yeah, just Humphrey.
Yeah, he would be the distraction.
Molly Joe, bro. Thumb.
Okay, what's Molly Joe? Okay, I don't care about Molly Joe, but maybe Robert Otto. We gotta get Frogman's arch nemesis.
Yeah, we gotta get them all in there. But
Robert Otto's gonna hold the portal open with his mechanical arm.
He's like, get in there. I'll hold him back.
I would love to see Robert Otto.
Go
in this
Frogman.
I would love to see a Robert Otto again.
He has the cloakbot arm wrapped on the portal like a Spider-Man 2 reference.
Yeah. I think just with the title, Escape to Amphibia, I think there definitely is going to be a fast-paced nature, and not to scare anyone, but I do feel like there is a pretty good chance we will not get the proper goodbyes that we do want, and I feel I feel like we might get it from the Boon Choice, but the other characters, just because this is gonna be an episode moving very, very fast, and I feel like the idea of us not getting to have a proper goodbye to Earth might be more of a feature than a bug.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's a chance there, and I think with what Froggy Little Christmas tried to set up, right, just the introduction to Sasha and Marcus's parents, I feel like this episode, with the fact that it's already them finally leaving Earth, I feel like it's gonna have very, very, very specific priorities, I guess. And I feel like I've seen some good speculation on how their parents could be involved. Maybe the FBI intercepted the letter and they're bringing them towards Anne the Force of confrontation for something. I mean, I've seen some good theories on that, and I think, I don't know, just be ready for the possibility that we won't see Dr. Jan until episode 20 or something, season 3.
I would be so
just be ready for that.
I wouldn't be mad, but I would be upset.
I think the thing that gets me out of this episode is the fact that it's 22 minutes. I don't know, from the description, it sounds like an 11-minute episode, at least to me. You know what I mean? I know we have a lot of things to say goodbye to, but I don't know. I feel like there's obviously there's something big happening this episode. It's the mid-season finale. Well, was supposed to be. But anyway, I won't go into that. But the big thing is just because the plot's pretty predictable. I kind of knew Mr. X was gonna show up. Like eventually, he kind of had to. It would be weird if like Andreas was the villain again after Foggy Little Christmas. You know what I mean? So like, I think like I don't know. I think it depends on like. I feel like the parents have to show up. If they don't show up now, I don't think they're gonna show up. Like I think I don't know. The parents are so weird. We thought they would show up in like episode 1, and they're not here. Waiting for like forever, and it's like I keep saying like, oh, episode 5 at the Exterminator, they gotta show up now, right? No.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I feel like
that was 3A. Like there should be like what's that mean? Like 3A start. Yeah, 3A start attack. Like asking every week where the parents are. Like, that was one of them.
I feel like
yeah.
maybe Darcy could make their debut here.
Yeah,
like,
that's what-
debut.
I hope so, please.
Oh, they have the
please.
voice line too. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that voice line. Right?
like Darcy comes out of a portal, Thanos style.
Yeah, I could see like
That'd be
I can see like there's a situation where you could have like the parents, Darcy, Mr. X, all this could happen in one episode, I think. Like I don't think it's impossible. I think it could work itself out if they wanted to do that. Even Andreas in this episode, cuz like even the new normal had to like set up a whole new world and it needed 22 minutes to do that.
Yeah.
And then like this episode doesn't have that same requirement. It can do whatever it wants since we've been on Earth enough.
Honestly, I mean,
I am
guess
very curious. I am very curious about how this episode is gonna play.
I think I just. Yeah, I mean, I won't lie. I would not have minded if this episode milked the hell out of the parents finally coming in. I would not have minded that.
Yeah.
I would love that. But I mean, but I'm fine. I think as long. I mean, because like what I really want to appear for there is just Anne's development. Like I want like every little thing they can do to go support Anne's development. I guess as long as it starts something, as long as it adds something. I don't really need like a whole 11 minutes dedicated to them at all. Maybe like a 4 or 5 minute scene, just something to sort of wake her up in that aspect.
Right. And I think, yeah, we can get into final thoughts now. It's almost time to wrap up. Lemur, any very brief final thoughts on just whatever we talked about tonight? Or today?
Both solid. Truck Stop Polly and Caravan Named Desire, both solid episodes. Like they're prime season 1 episodes that some of got featured in season 2, and there's nothing really wrong with that. I am very much looking forward to the next episodes. I think they're going to be a whole lot of fun, and I'm just ready for this show to come back and finally reaches its conclusion. That's just all I want at this point.
All right, thank you, Lemur. Impact, final thoughts?
I really enjoy both of these episodes. I don't really consider them to be like super duper like top 10 of Amphibia, but they're really fun. I like Truck Stop Polly. I love Caravan Named Desire. Those episodes are really fun. And yeah, I really enjoy these two. And I am, to plug into the next one, I'm really excited to get to Toad Catcher. That's all I'm going to say. I am so hyped. I got a lot of narrative stuff to add to that episode. But anyway, yeah, that's my final thoughts.
All right, thank you, Impact. Nick, final thoughts?
2 really good episodes, and I am not ready for this show to come back next month. Oh God.
It's at the time of this recording, it's going to be exactly 1 month. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Nick. And yeah, like I enjoyed Truck Stop Polly, Caravan Named Desire, both solid episodes. And that's pretty much concludes this week's episode. Thanks for listening. Next week we'll be covering Quarreller's Pass and Toadcatcher. So that's looking forward to those two. And thanks for listening again. See you guys next time. Say goodbye, everyone.
All right, see you guys.
Bye, y'all.
Goodbye.
See ya.